Have you ever sat quietly after a conversation with your grown children and felt a pang in your heart, a sense that something wasn't quite right? Maybe it was the way they brushed off your advice, spoke to you with impatience, or made decisions without considering your feelings. It's a tough place to be, especially after years of loving, guiding, and sacrificing for them. You deserve respect, and if you're not getting it, it's not too late to turn things around. Now, I know what some people might say, that's just how kids are these days, or you can't teach an old dog new tricks. But here's the truth. Respect isn't about demanding obedience or clinging to old family roles. It's about mutual understanding, setting boundaries, and sometimes making small but powerful shifts in how you respond. In this video, we'll walk through 6 meaningful ways to regain respect from your children, not by arguing or guilt-tripping, but by focusing on what you can control. Because here's the thing. When you change how you show up in the relationship itself begins to change. Let's start with the first step, and this one might surprise you. Stop chasing their approval. It's natural to want your children's love and admiration. After all, you've spent decades nurturing them, but sometimes, in our desire to stay close, we unknowingly teach them to take us for granted. Think about it. Do you ever find yourself bending over backward to please them even when they don't reciprocate? Maybe you're always the one calling first, or you bite your tongue when they say something hurtful because you don't want to rock the boat. Here's the problem. When we constantly seek their validation, we hand them all the power in the relationship. Respect grows when there's balance, when both people feel valued. So instead of chasing their approval, shift your focus inward. Remind yourself of your worth. You don't need to prove anything to them. Start making decisions based on what you feel is right, not just what you think will make them happy. For example, if your daughter always expects you to babysit at the last minute, even when it's inconvenient, it's okay to say, "I'd love to help, but I need a bit more notice." That's not being selfish, it's teaching her to respect your time. Small moments like this add up. Set boundaries without apology. Now this leads us to the next step: setting clear boundaries. Many of us were raised to believe that good parents always put their children first, no matter what. But here's the thing, you're still a person with needs, feelings, and limits, and when those are constantly ignored, resentment builds, on both sides. Boundaries aren't about being harsh or cold, they're simply a way of saying, this is what I'm comfortable with. Maybe it means not lending money unless it's an emergency, or asking your son to call before dropping by unannounced. The key is to communicate these boundaries calmly and stick to them. I'll give you an example. One gentleman I spoke with told me his adult son would often make jokes at his expense in front of others, little digs about his forgetfulness or being old-fashioned. At first he laughed along, not wanting to seem overly sensitive, but one day he pulled his son aside and said, "I know you don't mean harm, but when you say things like that it hurts. I'd appreciate it if you'd be more mindful." His son was taken aback, he hadn't realized the impact, but after that, the jokes stopped. The lesson? People will treat you how you allow them to. When you set boundaries with kindness and consistency, you teach them how to treat you. Now let's talk about something equally important. How to respond when respect is lacking, because sometimes, despite our best efforts, our children still act in ways that feel dismissive or hurtful. What do you do then? Well, that's where the next step comes in. Respond, don't react. When your child says or does something hurtful, it's easy to react immediately. Maybe with anger, guilt, or even tears. And believe me, I understand how tempting it can be to snap back or retreat into silence. But here's the truth. Emotional reactions often make things worse. They can turn a small disagreement into a full-blown argument or leave you feeling powerless afterward. Instead, try responding, not reacting. What's the difference? Reacting is instant and emotional. Responding is thoughtful and intentional. For example, if your son dismisses your advice with a curt, "You don't understand," instead of firing back, "After all I've done for you," take a breath. You might say, "It sounds like you're frustrated. I'm just trying to help, but I won't push it." This does 2 things. First, it shows emotional maturity, which naturally commands respect. Second, it gives them space to reflect. Sometimes, when we don't rise to the bait, they start to recognize their own behavior. Now, what if they don't? What if they keep pushing? That's when you calmly remove yourself. You might say, "I can see we're not on the same page right now. Let's talk another time." Walking away isn't surrender, it's self-respect. Lead by example. Here's a question worth asking yourself. How do I treat myself in front of my children? Because whether we realize it or not, they're always watching. If you constantly downplay your own needs, "Oh, don't worry about me, I'll manage," or tolerate poor treatment from others, you're silently teaching them that it's okay to do the same. Respect starts with you. Show them what it looks like to value yourself. That might mean speaking up when something matters to you, even if it's small. "Actually, I'd prefer we eat at this restaurant instead. The noise level at the other place is hard for me." Taking pride in your interests and time. "I can't come over Sunday. That's when I have my book club." Refusing to engage in gossip or negativity. "I'd rather not talk about your sister that way." When you model self-respect, you set a standard, and over time they'll begin to mirror it back to you. Rebuild the relationship on new terms. Sometimes the lack of respect stems from an outdated dynamic, one where they still see you as the parent who exists solely to give, and they remain the child who only takes. But you're both adults now, and healthy adult relationships thrive on mutual respect. So how do you shift this? Start creating opportunities for a more equal connection. Instead of always being the listener, share your own thoughts and experiences. Instead of only offering help, allow yourself to ask for it sometimes. "Could you give me a hand with this tech issue?" Let them see you as a whole person, not just mom or dad. One woman told me how her daughter used to make all the family decisions without consulting her, until she started gently asserting herself. At first her daughter was surprised. "You never cared about where we went for holidays before." But over time she began to include her mother in planning. Why? Because she finally saw her as someone with her own opinions and preferences. This isn't about keeping score or demanding change overnight, it's about planting small seeds that, with patience, grow into a healthier relationship. Now there's one more powerful step we haven't covered yet, one that can transform not just how your children see you, but how you see yourself. And that's where we'll pick up in the next part. There comes a moment in every parent's life when you realize something profound. You are more than just mom or dad. You're a person with your own dreams, your own wisdom, and your own right to be treated with dignity, no matter how old your children are. And sometimes, the key to regaining their respect isn't about changing them at all. It's about reclaiming the parts of yourself that got lost in the busyness of raising a family. So let's talk about the final step, the one that ties everything together. Redefine your worth beyond the parent role. For decades, your identity revolved around your children. Their needs came first, their meals, their school projects, their heartbreaks, and that was beautiful. But now, they're grown. And if you measure your value only by how they treat you, you'll always be at the mercy of their actions. Here's the shift. Start investing in the other parts of your life that make you feel alive. Reconnect with old hobbies, make new friends, or even explore something you've always wanted to try. Painting, volunteering, traveling solo. When your children see you thriving independently, it changes how they perceive you. Suddenly, you're not just parent, you're someone interesting. But more importantly, you start feeling stronger. Respect begins within. The more you honor your own life, your passions, your boundaries, your peace, the less you'll tolerate being treated as an afterthought. And that quiet confidence, it's contagious. Bringing it all together, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Regaining respect isn't about winning arguments or demanding obedience, it's about stepping back from chasing approval because you don't need to beg for what you deserve. Setting boundaries with love, teaching others how to treat you, choosing response over reaction, keeping your power in tough moments, modeling self-respect so they learn by example, rebuilding the relationship as equals because you're both adults now, and remembering your worth goes beyond parenting, you're a whole, vibrant person. This isn't a quick fix. Relationships shift slowly like tides, not overnight. There might be pushback at first, especially if your children are used to the old dynamic, but stay consistent. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. A word for your heart. If you're watching this, I want you to know something. You are not failing as a parent if your grown children disrespect you. Parenting doesn't come with guarantees. You love them, you did your best, and that matters. But now, it's okay to focus on you, to expect kindness, to take up space in their lives, not as a caregiver but as a person worthy of honor. So start small. Pick one thing from this video that resonates with you. Maybe it's setting a boundary or rediscovering an old passion, and try it this week. Change begins with a single step. And if you've been through this journey yourself, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's helped you rebuild respect with your children? Your story could inspire someone else watching today. If this video spoke to you, don't forget to like and subscribe for more conversations like this. Remember, your later years aren't about fading into the background, they're about shining in a whole new way. Here's to the next chapter of your life, where respect, joy, and peace aren't just hopes, but daily realities.